Welcome, you guys. I'm Kelly Garvey, and I am so excited that you're here with us today. I've been on this journey, and it is just something that I have to share with everybody. And you'll know why as we go along, why it is such an exciting time for all of us. Um, Hopefully, you'll join in the conversation with us. If you are joining us live, go ahead, chat, ask questions. We are here for you. And I will introduce my guests with me as we move along. But I want to explain why I feel this ASEA signaling molecules are so critical for all of us. It's because I learned early on in life um, that our health is so important to us. And the reason for that is because when I was 8 years old, I lost my dad to testicular cancer, and he was only 34. And that was uh, truly, I mean, it rocked my world, literally rocked my world. And so from that point on, I knew that your health, you can't take it for granted. And so as well, my older brother, who's 3 years older than me, he was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes at the age of 5 or 6, I believe, around that time. And unfortunately, it took its wear and tear on him over the years, and he died at 40. And so those are two huge losses in my life. And why I've always probably subconsciously knew I needed to take care of myself healthy. I've always been active, played sports. I mean, always making sure. And because we were on the diabetic diet with my brother, we learned to eat healthy early on. So that was a blessing in disguise for all of us. So when I found out, and I heard this from Jay and April about they were sharing their results about taking the ASEA redox, at that time, at the forefront of my mind, when you guys said you were sleeping better, you had more energy, your knees weren't crying at you after exercising, that was at the forefront of my mind at the moment that I need to try this. My intuition said it is a product that you got to try, Kelly, because I go with my intuition on a lot of things. And the other thing is that it's biohacks saline water. There's no extra chemicals in there that so many extra health supplements have out there that are going to may interfere with our bodies. So I was in, and I was all in the way they were all in with taking the Magic 8, 4 ounces in the morning, 4 ounces at night. If I was going to do this, I was all in, and that's the way I do it. So within 3 weeks, I was on the treadmill for the third day in a row. That normally doesn't happen because my body needs to have a day off in between. I got off that third day after that third week of being on it, and I was like, oh my God, I just ran 3 days in a row. I have no pain. My knees are not crying at me, going, what are you doing to me? And I pulled out my phone as soon as I got off the treadmill, sweaty, all of that. And I recorded myself. I am not one to record myself at all. But for some reason, I had to get on there and share with everybody on my social media what happened, what was going on. 3 weeks in, and I'm feeling this way. I was getting better sleep already, obviously having better energy. So there I was. And the video thing, I'm now addicted to it. I share my story all the time, and I have to. It's just like so in me. And this product has been a catalyst in my life. There have been so many things that I have been holding off on because something inside me wasn't ready for it. This has pushed me forward to move forward in my life in so many ways. I've been wanting to do my life coaching with kids program. I have a series of classes set up, and I've just been sitting on them. This has pushed me over the edge that I'm now going to set up my YouTube account, and I'm going to start doing this. I'm telling you, this is a miracle product in so many ways. Now let's move on to what's more critical than just aching knees. It can help in so many other ways. In my 5th week in, I have been on medication for women issues, thyroid, testosterone, and when I hit 50, my body said, ah, you hit 50. We're going to start working on some of these female issues and we're going to take down your levels. My doctor, when I went to the doctor in 2019, she said if I wasn't as active as I was, and I would have been sitting on the couch calling in sick to work all the time. But because I already had, pretty high levels of energy, I was able to move forward. Granted, I don't know how I did it. I came home and still worked out and then crashed every night. But I'll tell you, once I got on the testosterone and the progesterone and the thyroid medication, I got that zap of energy. I felt like, wow, this is amazing. But in the back of my head, I didn't want to be on medication forever, but I knew it was a nice band-aid for the moment until I could find something better. Well, I found something better because I got those test results back, and my doctor, she said she had to look at the results from the previous visit. My levels had adjusted so greatly that she thought we had adjusted my medication. So I have reduced my thyroid medication, my testosterone, my anti-anxiety medication. I am almost on the way off this medication, and that is my true goal.
That's
Um,
huge.
That is fantastic.
I know, and I know I'm just like, "Ah," like with so much excitement, but it's just amazing that this one product, and Danielle, I'm going to want you to go into more detail on the science behind it, but why it's able to help in so many areas of my body. Can you move on from there?
I totally can. I'm just sitting here smiling, getting goosebumps and going, oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful that this found you. And so everyone can kind of get some insight, like why and how does one thing touch and do so many different things in the body? And it's because, so what she's talking about is this blue bottle. It's called a SIA. And it's a SIA redox. Redox, guys, just stands for reductants and oxidants. Okay? Let's explain what this is and what it does. In our body right now needs to signal. We're just trillions and trillions of cells. We're like 75 trillion cells. And those cells have to talk to one another. And what happens is that when there's damage, a call for help will go out. The neighboring cells signal our body, and that's how our body knows to come. I don't know if you've ever cut yourself and you've wondered, like, how does your body know, right, to go to that area and repair? It's because a signal goes out. And what happens is that signal, they're reductant and oxidant molecules, redox molecules, and they're made in our body. And unfortunately, after puberty, the body just makes less. And so as we age, you think about as you hurt yourself as a 5-year-old, right? You bounce back quickly. Let's say you had to have a tonsillectomy, right? Kids bounce back from it. You get a surgery, something like that at the age of 30, takes a little longer. 60 takes even longer. 80, it's going to take a long, long time. And it's because as we've gotten older, the body's own production of these signaling goes down. And so when you have damage, the call for help, it just gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And so the body can't repair as fast. Now, what the miracle is that we have is that ASEA, and it's actually a biotech company, they figured out how to stabilize these redox signaling molecules and put them in a form so that you and I can take them. And so I'm looking at 7 different people on this call. All of us have damage in a different area, and all of you listening have damage in a different area. I'm watching all sorts of things pop up with, blood pressure and thyroid and this and that. This is non-specific. So redox molecules, when you drink them and you replenish your system's supply, it's going to go in and it's going to say, okay, this is where your system has that damage, and it's going to repair it. Now that cell for Jay, might be in his lung. For April, it might be in her pancreas. For Julia, it might be in her liver. For me, it was in my brain. It's going to be different for everybody, but it repairs there. And thus it impacts that tissue, that organ, that system of the body. And so that is why we see this touch so many different things. And that is how it's helping. I think about it like putting more construction workers on the job site, right? You're just putting it back into your body. So you can't be allergic to it. Because what's in that, your body literally is making right now. It's safe. You can give it to infants. You can give it to animals. You can give it to plants. You can see that it works. You can even spray it in your eyes. I mean, you can put this wherever you want. And there's not going to be a toxic level that builds up, and it won't contraindicate with anything that you're currently doing. And so the fact, Kelly, that you're sharing, look, I was on this medication. I knew it was a Band-Aid. That's what medications do, right? They mask the symptom. Well, what does this do? This isn't going after a symptom. It's not a medication. It's not treating anything. It's going down to the root of the issue, and it's saying, well, this cell wasn't functioning properly. Let's repair it. And so now when that gets repaired, there is no more symptom. And so that's why you're getting this. Well, you're already getting to reduce what you're taking, because the cellular issue is getting repaired. The dysfunction, is being addressed at that issue, and it's at that level. And so it's amazing what that then means, right? And it's really the body that's doing healing, the body that's going in there and actually repairing. This is just letting the body know where to go. And it's a piece of communication that, we haven't been able to have. You can't get it through eating food. You can't get it through exercise. They literally thought it was impossible to restore redox into your system, but these guys figured it out.
And that's why thank you so much. That's why we titled it Rejuvenate Thy Cells, because we can do this. Our bodies can heal itself, and we're just getting an extra boost from these molecules here, which has been a blessing. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your story? And the reason why I want you to share their story is because how it's able to cross that barrier that so many people may not be aware of.
Yeah, so Kelly's talking about the blood-brain barrier. My experience with this, guys, is I mean, it literally changed my life. So I was involved in a severe car accident a decade ago. I suffered a brain injury in the accident, and it pulled me from my life. I couldn't concentrate for extended periods. I was very sensitive to light, noise, severe pounding in my head. I mean, all of the, the symptoms. I ticked every box. And doctors didn't have solutions for me. They actually told me after a year that this was just my new normal, and my body had done the healing it would do. And I refused to take that as truth. And I said, no. There's got to be something out there. I was 24 years old, and I thought, this is not going to be my life. And we kept searching. And an acupuncturist actually reached out to my mom, and she said to my mom, look, I have been using this in my practice, and it's helping all of my clients. And she said, it's native to the body, so I believe it would pass the blood-brain barrier. And she said, I think it could help Danielle. And so my mom just intuitively, like you, Kelly, she just intuitively went, yeah, this is what we're needing. She brought it home. And unfortunately, she ran into a brick wall, because I thought it sounded too good to be true. It sounded like glorified salt water, and I refused to take it. No one could explain to me how you make redox molecules from sodium, chloride, salt, and hydrogen and oxygen, water. No one explained it to me, and I was like, yeah, it's saline. I'm not drinking it. After 6 months, though, my parents had such great results, and they started looking at the research, and they said, this is a massive field of science. This isn't some company with some technology. This is a huge field. They're just the only ones that have been able to stabilize the molecules, so you can actually replenish your system's supply. And they said, it can't hurt, Danielle, just try it. And so I started using it, and about 3 months in, my world changed. The pounding in my head stopped for the first time. I was able to concentrate again. I had energy again. And as I started to get my health back, it was my therapist that said to me, look, I've worked with this injury for 30 years, and I've never seen this type of recovery happen so far out from an initial trauma. And she said, look, my other clients need to know what this is. The hell's that stuff you started drinking? We need to share. And that launched me into learning. And guys, it's like, so many people come and they ask, I'm seeing in the chat about hyperthyroid, hypothyroid, blood pressure. There's a great testimonial site, and Kelly can share it with you. Go there. You can literally click in blood pressure. You can click in spectrum behavior. You can click in memory disorders, and you can listen to what has happened with people that had that issue. So because it does something different in everyone, you can go find somebody that had damage similar to your damage and see what happened when their damage started to get repaired. And I would encourage, you to reach out to be able to look at that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. When I heard about the blood-brain barrier, the first time I had heard that was when I started getting into essential oils, and there's certain essential oils that can do that same thing. And so that's pretty powerful that our body is able to recognize what can and cannot cross that barrier. So thank you. Yeah. I'm going to move on to, did you have something else, Danielle?
No, I said absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to move on to one of our other guests to share the results that they've been seeing. Let's see. I'm going to go with Charlotte. Charlotte, do you want to share a little bit about what your journey's been?
Well, since I'm an experienced lady here, I have tried, and since you've heard a little bit of our background, obviously I've been interested in health and actually
Oh, by the
self-healing.
way, Mom, I just want to interrupt real quickly. This is my mom, so she said our background. So just so you know that.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's great.
Anyway, you've heard a little bit about our background, and so consequently, our whole family has been very interested in healing in many aspects. Um, Also, one of the things that I learned early in life, and I believe I passed it on to Kelly, excuse me, is self-responsibility, which is what we truthers are all about today. And so those two things have sort of carried me through my life. What has happened is since this lockdown that we came into, I said, it's not going to get to me. I'm not going to let these people, sorry, I get really emotional. Excuse me.
That's okay. Do you want to take a break and come back?
No.
Okay.
This lockdown's not going to get to me, is what I said. You know? Yeah. So I decided I was going to review my life and decide what I was going to do. Well, I thought, well, I got all these prescriptions around here. I don't want these things in my life. I just said no sleep apnea, no medication. Bye. Looked in my cupboards. I had all these supplements. You know that we all have tried. I said, so $1,000 out the door. That's how I decided that. So. And I also decided that I was going to do something about my spiritual life. And so I really delved into that and really got into deep meditation and different modalities. And then I found some healers that came into my life, which have been very helpful. So when Kelly asked me or told me about her journey and how beautiful her knees were, because I know she's been miserable, I said, well, let's go ahead and try it. As Daniel said, safe, no risk. What kind of deal is that? And the other thing that Dr.
David
Silverman said was, you don't have to believe it to believe that it'll work to work. Now, see, my background is you have to believe it. But when he said that, I thought, my gosh, I can help anybody or pass this on. So then I said, okay, let's do this. I want my body to heal. I have more to do than just up this 78 years have done. Got more. So just to tell you what it's done for me, it's enhanced my clarity. I am more discerning than I've ever been. I come to decisions quicker. I've burned my hand on the stove. It has healed like almost immediately. And I know my daughter will tell you this, but my hearing has improved. Wow. I want it more, so I'm going to continue. My energy level is good. And I've noticed in my hands that when I drink the water that I'm supposed to drink, I do not have wrinkles on the tops of my hands anymore. So that tells me from Dr. Hoffman's comments that whatever you see on the outside is probably happening on the inside. Mm-hmm. So that excites me. The other funny thing that Kelly said, oh, that's just something you didn't notice before. But a couple of days ago, I started using my left hand to do things that I never would have done before because I'm right-handed. And I don't know, you tell me. The last thing I want to share is that I'm just delighted to have been a part of this. I am sharing it. I happened to go to a professional seminar yesterday. I think I got 2 people interested. So I'm excited about that. And the other thing that I think is important when we get involved with this is that I have such a detailed journal of this whole process that if you ask me something, I can go to the day and say it happened. And by the way, I started May 20th. So I thank you for listening, and I'm glad to be part of Kelly's upline.
Thanks, Mom. And I have to share something that she, in the beginning, she did a major detox and she was really concerned about how it affected her, but she powered through it. And, we all in the beginning, we don't know how it's going to affect our bodies. We don't know how deep our detox is going to be. For me, I just slept a little bit more that first week. And I love to sleep, so it was not a big deal for me. But my mom actually had major detox on both ends. And so she was really concerned about it. But I said, this is what your body needs to do. Just trust the process and let it go through the healing process. And so thankfully she did. She didn't give up on it and she continued to move forward with it. And that is something else that I want to share is that you have to commit to this product. Your body, I'm 53 years old. It didn't get to this point overnight. It has taken years to accumulate. So something that's coming in to assist you isn't going to cure or help you overnight. So you got to keep that in mind. I always say with anything that I try, you got to do at least 90 days because you don't know how your body is going to react. Just like my mom's detox in the beginning, a lot of people would have said, "Heck no, I'm out," because that's too strong of a reaction. You have to trust it and put in the time and be consistent with it. And I know that Tanya can speak to the consistency part of it. So Tanya, do you want to go from there?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name's Tanya, and I've known Kelly for, well, I don't want to date us, but it's been it's been a long time. We've been friends for a very long time. We've had lots of professional and personal adventures together, and more to come. So she introduced this this product to me, and I was very intrigued because she was seeing a lot of success. Her videos, she would share her stories. I'm like, I need to try this because my journey is my husband has been he's been facing a lot of health challenges for the last 4 years. So I've been focusing on him and his health and his appointment, and so we're finally over that hurdle, God willing. And so now it's my turn. I'm going to concentrate on myself and my healing and my health. So I decided to try ASEA, and it's been about 30 days or so, approximately. I don't remember the exact date. But consistency is something that I'm getting better with. At first, I was inconsistent with it. And I'm like, why? And I talked to my husband. I was educating him on the product, and he's like, well, if it's supposed to be good for you, why aren't you taking it every day? I'm like, oh, well, that's a good point. So I actually, yeah, it's like, so we started talking about it. He's starting to take it together. So we are, we're taking it, and we remind each other. It's not difficult, but you just have to get into the routine of doing it in the morning and the night. And so we help each other remember. So yes. And so since I've been taking it, I have seen changes. I have had much more energy. I usually hit that wall around 2 or 3 o'clock and want to maybe take a nap or drink an extra cup of coffee. And I have not been needing an extra cup of coffee. I just attended a 2-day seminar here all day, and I did not have to have any caffeine in the afternoon at all, which is very rare for me. So energy is definitely something I've seen. And I have not been as hungry as I have in the past. Which is great because I'm trying to lose some weight and count my calories. And the third big advantage that I've seen is the cravings. I don't want a piece of chocolate. Usually at night I would have a piece of chocolate or something salty. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't need it. So I just drink water and I'm happy. So so far that's my experience, and I'm looking forward to seeing more changes and more benefits. And thank you, Kelly, for introducing this to me.
Well,
I
thanks for
appreciate it.
sharing. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing some more results for you and you taking the time for you now, which is beautiful because you're such a giver to everybody else. It's time to take care of yourself.
Thank you.
So
I am.
wonderful. Danielle, can you speak to why? Because that I know that Jay and April, you guys have talked about it as well. That my mom as well, we love our sugar, and for some reason now we're not wanting our sugar. What's going on with that?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, for each body, it's a little different. I can speak to some of the other research that's been done and why those things might be happening. So one thing that's interesting is they worked with looking at the impact this had with athletes, and this ties into what you're talking about. So what they found was that athletes were having more endurance, and they wanted to know why. So they did a study with mice, and they actually put the mice on a wheel and had them run to their exhaustion point. And then they took a group and they put it on salt water. And they took another group and put them on ASEA. And after 7 days, they did it again. And what they found was that the group on ASEA went, I believe it was like 29% further before hitting their exhaustion point. And what happened was they said, well, why? Mice they're not going to run further just because. What actually happened? And so they went and looked, and they were sparing more of their muscle glycogen. And so what happens when you drink this is you actually shift into fatty acid metabolism, and your body literally starts to metabolize the fats in your system before it's moving towards, the muscle glycogen, which is why then the lactic acid doesn't build up. But I think that plays into things here as well, where your body is shifting how it's metabolizing. And so therefore you're not getting different cravings you used to be getting, like it's literally feeding itself. So that's one of them. And the other piece is this does go in and it turns on various genetic pathways. And one of them is hormone modulation, which has to do with all things from insulin signaling to estrogen signaling. And so I think sometimes too, when our hormones are out of balance, different things happen with that as well. So it's quite fascinating. And it's so cool to see what it does for each person, because it will vary. Like you might say, well, I took it and I still crave sugar. It's like, all right, well, that's because for your system, there was something else that was a priority, and it's working over there now. And it's just the longer you stay on it, like I'm just smiling, listening to both of you actually share your story, because to me, you're still the tip of the iceberg. I've been on this stuff for 8 years. I know what it's just going to continue to do and what you see. So it's exciting what you've experienced so far. And, for those that are starting it as well, I would say don't have an expectation. Baseline everything in your health. Where am I at today? What do I know? And then after a week, look again. Sometimes one area will shoot up. Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping so much better. But sometimes it's just every area has slightly improved. And so you want to kind of track yourself, because as humans, we just somehow forget when we used to have a problem. We forget. And so when you baseline, you catch it, because these shifts can be subtle. Like my nails are thicker. They grow faster. So does my hair, right? These are subtle things, but I pick up on it because I'm paying attention. And I would encourage you to do the same. And I agree with you, Kelly. 90 days really is. It's like looking for that. 90% of people are able to pinpoint on their assessment something that shifted. And then to me, it's like, April and Jay and I were talking about this. Like, this is lifestyle. Like, this is
absolutely.
This is something you just stay on in order to keep your system healthy as you go through life. Why wouldn't you, do everything you can to keep this body healthy? We get one. And you learned that at a young age, and I learned it at a young age too. And it's so important.
Thank you for sharing some of that with us, because you also keeping track, or you forget about some things that are going on with you because you think you've just become accustomed to it. And there was a story that you had that you were listening to somebody talk about giving their testimony about their results and about the back. And you totally forgot that you used to have that back issue.
I have scoliosis, and I've always had back issues. I've always had tension in my back because one side literally is pulling more than the other. And my whole life, like I almost had to have surgery as a kid, put a rod in, all this stuff. I have no idea when it happened, but I was in a room like this, except in person, and people were sharing stories and experiences. And this woman said, I had this issue, I've taken the ASEA after X number of weeks, that's gone. And I went, oh my gosh. I don't remember the last time that, my back had discomfort in it. And it just blew me away. Like we're talking decades of, this being a problem ever since I was little and gone. And I didn't even notice that it left. So that's why baseline everything.
Well, and that's why, again, another reason why I love this product is because you really have no idea what's going on. I mean, you knew you had back problems, obviously, but you just become accustomed to what's going on in your body, or you don't even know what's going on in your body, and it's going in there and healing as it goes what needs to happen. Okay, for those, I am a big learner, love to learn, and so I got this book last week because I wanted to learn more about what is happening. That's the geek in me, because it's the intellectual part of me, but there's also a spiritual side to me, and taking this, I have raised my spiritual connection. My connection is I trust it immensely. It comes in like that, and it's such a beautiful thing. And I think the pineal gland is actually, a couple of weeks ago, something happened to me, and I think it actually went because all of a sudden I saw the colors of all the chakras just burst in my head. I could visually see them, and it was an intense, beautiful moment. And so those who are on the spiritual journey as well, you may see a difference there. And I think that Julia can probably attest to that a little bit more for us, not only maybe physical things, but on the spiritual level for us. Julia, would you like to share?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. When you invited me, I really couldn't wait because I'm talking the gospel of ASEA to everyone now. That's my job. Once we find something, we're obligated to tell others, I feel. So I'm going to say to those of you that get it and get the gel, take a picture of your face before, because I didn't, and you're going to be blown away. And you're going to say, I wish I had a picture. Fortunately, I have videos that I've done, over the years, so I can see the old me, and people are already commenting how different I look. I want to say too, so I had rapid results for some things. Within a few days, I had a knee that had fluid on it for over a year. I was going to the chiropractor every week to have it adjusted. It was painful. I couldn't work out anymore. I have a hot yoga room in my house, and I couldn't even use it. So started the ASEA. I started just full on 8 ounces a day. I was doing whatever Jay and April were doing, whatever Danielle's doing. And I spread it out 2 ounces 4 times a day to make sure it was in my system constantly. And I went to my chiropractor the next week, and my knee was fine, and there was no fluid. And I already knew. I was like, wow, I don't have any discomfort anymore in this knee. And she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm drinking this stuff, and I'm using this gel. And I told her about it. So that was the first thing that happened. And then I had to go to I was in a car accident 3 years ago. I got rear-ended, and my head was already tipped back taking a sip of water, and so it snapped even further back. Then I hit the person in front of me, back again. It was just awful. And I had 3 bulging things here that were very disruptive in my life. I couldn't even work for several months. Went to a neck specialist. He said, I'm going to need either shots or surgery. And I was like, no, thank you. Something's going to come. And I lived with that for 3 years. And then I started this product and started using ASEA. And I just had to go to him. First of all, the discomfort went away within a week. No more bulging at all. Nothing sticks out. And she used to have to adjust it and get it back in place. And went to the specialist, and he said that I didn't need anything. So the miracle for that happened as well. But so many things, I actually wrote down things because so much has happened for me that I didn't want to forget. I have severe allergies. Okay. I basically was allergic to everything on this planet. So, this is the first year that I did not suffer through the season. I had no issues at all. And told my boyfriend, he was even shocked. I said, I don't have any issues with my allergies this year. This is crazy. What else? Something happens at the 90-day phase. Jay and April talked about it, and I was just waiting. I was like, I'm almost to 3 months. Let's see what happens. And there is some kind of like divine light that just ignites. You can't put it into words. I'm gonna cry. Like, you have to experience it. You have to experience it. And it's amazing. And I'm so grateful. I'm just so grateful for ASEA and that they didn't sell out, and that they were doing this for humanity. I'm such a crier. These are tears of joy. So yeah, I told April the other day, I said, something else happened, tears flowing down my face, that, doing my work as a psychic medium, and, what I felt was really good at it. I'm good at what I do, but I could see people's auras in my mind's eye, but now I physically can see auras around people. Wow. And I never had been able to see them with my physical eyes before. I knew it. I either knew it or could see it in my mind's eye, but I never saw it. That just started happening. My dogs are taking it. My Macy, she was on my lap. I thought she was going to come on camera, but she's too shy today. She had an anal gland leakage problem. That's a lot of fun. And that has since disappeared. So she doesn't have that any longer. And I want to say to your mom, my boyfriend's mom's 88, and she got on it. And the changes in her, she's been on it for almost, I'd say probably 2 months now. Crazy. So amazing. So I'm so glad that you're doing it, because it is just helping. It's just helping everyone. So yeah, there you go. There's my story. There's my story, tears and all.
Well, thank you. I love it. And this does bring a lot of emotions forward, because there's so much that we don't realize that we've been holding on to, and we're able to release now. And
I'm almost joyful. I have tears of joy.
Absolutely.
I am so thank you for letting me share. I hope it touches someone, and someone decides to jump in and start this beautiful journey.
No, thank you so much for being a part of this today. I appreciate it. Now, you touched on the owners, the founders of ASEA, and that they didn't sell out. And I agree. And either Jay or Danielle, do you guys want to touch on what happened with the founders and why they chose to go the direction they did?
Yes. Before we get to that, though, I do want to say one thing. I can honestly tag on every single solitary story, because we've experienced. Well, we don't have enough time today. We'll take us into next week. But I do want to say real quick, Charlotte, you are absolutely precious, number one. And the fact that you're 78 and you're like, you know what? Let's get this party started. There's so much time left for me to go, and I'm going to enjoy every single solitary minute of it. That is such an inspiration. And I only wish that my parents were still here so they could possibly have experienced this as well, because I feel without a shadow of a doubt, if I had this product 5 years ago, they would still be here today. Absolutely. No question about it. Because not only would it have changed internally and their physiology, it would have shifted that mind from a state of, not so much my mom, but my father, a state of depression that he was falling into, because all of the people that he loved and that he grew up with were starting to die as well. And it took him down a very dark path. And, when that happens, we all know how that can go. And I know this absolutely would have shifted his life. And my mom, they were married for 57 years. And the death of my father took my mom down 70 days later. So I know this would have completely altered my life and their life as well. So thank you so much, Charlotte, for sharing that. And as far as to answer your question, Danielle could probably answer it better, but from what I know of it is that they were offered more than once a lot of money in the billions of dollars to not take this product and market it times 10, but to take it off the market and bury it. They were offered that by multiple pharmaceutical companies. And that in itself just tells you the authenticity and the thought pattern of why this was created, and that they said, we will never sell out. That's not why we did this. We did this to alter the consciousness and raise the vibration of all humanity to make everyone's lives a better place to be. And that is exactly what they're doing. And that is an incredible blessing for each and every one of us.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Jay, you're so good at explaining about those who are hesitant about being a part of direct marketing, and why none of us should be, because we buy products from similar situations all the time and don't think twice about it. It's the product we're buying. It's not the company, or it's not the system we're buying. Do you want to go into more detail on why people should ignore that part of it, but why it's also a blessing for us as well?
Yeah, they need to. Thank you. And wow, what a great energy group. And I want to tag in what April said about Charlotte. It's God bless you. It's great to get that inspiration from all of you. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so ASEA is a product. Okay, they chose a business model called network marketing, which is word of mouth marketing, which is, Danielle shares with me, I share with Kelly, who shares with Charlotte, along the board like that. They use that as a way to say, look, we've come up with something that says this is groundbreaking technology. So I don't know if you could put it on a shelf and say, okay, just go ahead and buy it and figure out what to do with it. It really took, and they decided, and I think this was a very smart choice, is that they decided to use this type of marketing, if you would, this kind of communication to explain what the product's going to be about. When you're talking about, it's not a Kelly, another lotion, potion, or shake, right? It's not. It's a category in and of itself. So when you're trying to do that, there's right now that we know there's one way of doing it, which is the way that we do it. We're doing it right now, which is really, coming from an inner personal experience about doing this. So when people buy this and they realize that, and the link's right there, and absolutely, if you have a soul and a spirit, you probably should be trying it already. But for people that are buying this, there's going to be that network marketing component to it. That's just their business model. This in itself it's ASEA. It's a product. You touch and hold it. You drink it. You do what you want. Network marketing is the business model of it that the company has chosen to distribute it. So that in itself, again, is another great thing for people who are realizing that we're already doing these kind of things anyway. So anytime you refer someone to a restaurant, does the restaurant pay you? Does the movie theater pay you? Does the gas station pay you? Does the online, does the herbalist pay you? Does the doctor pay you? Probably not. ASEA has said, you know what? We know that instead of us putting out $1 gazillion into advertising, and we'll see how that works out, it's a much better experience if we have people share it with their loved ones, because that's more of a real story. Because if Charlotte may not have bought it, if her daughter says, hey mom, just listen, just trust me on this one, okay? And those are real stories that are coming up here. You know what I mean? Danielle's parents, Danielle wouldn't have, she's already said she wouldn't have if it wasn't for her parents. It takes this kind of grassroots approach to be able to do this. It's a smarter way to do it. It's a better way to do it. So what happens with that is, if you are in the stage of your life where you're in what's called your accumulation phases, is what we call it, which means that you are earning your wealth in your life for you and your loved ones, and the ones that rely on you the most, your family, and you are physically and mentally able to work. There's, we come from, again, there's just, with what's out there in today's world, there's just no reason to complain about money. There really just isn't, if you're able to do it. ASEA, because they've come up through with the ability to be able to hit the reset button on your life. Everybody wants this. Everybody wants what's in this bottle right now. I have to share this with you. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to turn back the time. Everybody wants to not feel that discomfort anymore. Everybody wants to feel that spiritual awakening, that connection. That's great. But now everybody can also, if you want to, and again, if you're in that phase, you also can be paid by sharing this with others, and it'll create a ripple effect for you, which means that you will get paid by others sharing it. It's the way, in my opinion,
and
Kelly,
not have to pay for it yourself.
and not have to pay for it yourself. So when we originally, Kelly, thought about this, number one, we thought we would know this is never going to happen. We're not going to put, because we get, you know how it is. Everybody gets these different products all day long, and it's another one of these things, kind of thing like that. And we're like, there's no way we're
going to talk about it.
We can't introduce this to people.
Happening.
We have a show. We have another business to run. There's no way we can just be talking about a blue bottle. Well, never say never. And, you know, because the responsibility that comes along with knowing that something like this exists far supersedes, you know, what goes on in your own head as far as like what other people think. It really is, you know, I mean, people just really need to, you know, we come from a place of like, wake up. You know, everything that all these YouTubers and all these other shows have been speaking about for years, that will come to us, that will reverse the aging process, that will increase our, like Julia says, the pineal gland. I mean, you know, all these different awakenings that are happening right now. Everything that we've said, it showed up in a bottle. So it's here right now. So now let's get to work, everybody, and start spreading the word about this. And I mean this from the bottom top of my heart, wherever it's at. But it's time to do this, because we've talked about it. It's here right now. It's time to take action and make the world a better place, because collectively as a consciousness, we'll all vibrate high because of this. You know, well, all of us collectively, we won't be in low vibe situations. We'll all be at high vibe situations, which will vibrate it, which will attract everything we always wanted, which will create that 5D experience. Yeah.
Jay and I, yes, 5D economy, actually. Jay and I coined the term 5D economy because we came up with this concept because we believe with all of our essence that this company is the epitome of what the 5D economy is all about, which is very simply becoming abundant by helping others become abundant. That is the 5D world. You know, everybody is trying to attain this 5D lifestyle. Well, first of all, it's a consciousness. Okay. So you have to raise your 3D consciousness to get to the 4D, to get to the 5D. And it just so happens we have a little friend that is helping us do it at Goddess speed.
Absolutely. And the time. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Charlotte.
I was at a professional meeting yesterday, and so I've been discussing with April how I'm going to proceed in my world. But the thing that people my age keep asking, how much is it? Okay, and that's a valid question for people who don't really have, you know, that they're on a fixed income. So the thing that I've come up with is I say, okay, well, are you taking medications? Are you taking supplements? And most people say yes. And so my answer to them is, all right, that money that you're taking, transfer it to ASEA. Yes, it's not cheap. I'm not saying it's highly expensive, but it's for some people, it is costly. So I said, think about all the other products that you are buying. Add up the amounts of all those things. And I said, this is going to be far less expensive in the long run. So
and better for you.
And better for you.
And if I can speak for that for a second too, a little bit, is that, and that's right, because that is a valid point and that's a valid thing. And that's why I really love this company, because not only have they said, okay, well, we're bringing the product out here, and if you get connected with it, you absolutely, like April was sharing about, you can get this for free. It doesn't have to cost you. It really is. And so, you know, the technology's out there. The company, as any company, has expenses. They got to pay their bills, but they still give us the ability to be able to get this for free. So if this is when you start trying this and you feel like, okay, hey, I'm going to continue to use this and it's going to be my lifestyle, Kelly, right? You know, it's going to be my lifestyle. And this is what I choose it. Then I would suggest that, you know, we help you, you know what I mean? We all, as a collective consciousness, we sit down and help you get this for free. We're starting to all get it for free. And it's just by sharing this, it creates a ripple effect. So it's a good thing to have that. And as far as for people's thought process, as far as expenses, just remember this in your life when you make decisions is people will never have enough money for their bills, and they never will. And that'll always stand the test of time. They will always, I promise you this, they will always have enough money for their dreams. Okay. So what's the dream? Can this create the dream for you? And that's really what you want to ask yourself, really, ultimately, at the end of the day.
And if you can spend $5 on a coffee at your local coffee shop a day, that's basically what you're spending on this a day is $5. So if you can trade that out, you are just benefiting your health in the long run, and benefiting others too, because think about the ripple effect on the lives that you touch every day in your family and friends. If you're healthier, you're going to be happier, and that's going to extend out. The energy is just going to, I feel it in my body tingling out. I mean, it is just an amazing thing that's happening here. And before we talk, close it out a little bit, I want to just touch, this has been around for 13 years. And so it is a credible product. The reason why it is just going gangbusters in my mind is because what April has touched on, people are ready to jump to that next step in their lives. And so everybody is trying to figure out how to do that. This is the way to do it. And not only are you jumping up a level, you're helping yourself heal as well, internally. And so I love all of you, and I want this for all of you. How can you get it? There's my link below. If you have questions for ordering and what to order, Jay has a number that we can add to, and I can share that as well to everybody. Or you can reach out to me, because I can share with you what I think would be best for you as well. Jay's just become an expert at it because he's been doing it for so many times now, but he can help you. But please make sure you don't do yourself an injustice by going in halfway. Be fully committed to the process. If you're not ready to commit to 90 days, wait till you are committed to 90 days, because you're going to set yourself up to some disappointment, and you're not going to see the results that you are anticipating. Any last words from any of you before we close out? Yes.
Something I forgot to say. Oh, go ahead, April.
Real quick, Julia. For those of you that are like, I want this and I want this right now, do not go to the website to purchase it immediately. Call that number. That's Jay's phone number, it's 1-321-216-8047, or call Kelly directly. Let us help you navigate the website. And not only that, to help answer any questions along the way. It's going to be so much easier. So don't do it yourself. Call either one of those first, and they will walk you right through.
Absolutely.
Yes, I totally agree. Sorry.
All right.
So, and Chastity's got a comment up there, and she knows about the website because I walked her through it. So it's very important you get someone to walk through with you. So yeah, get a hold of Jay. I just want to say something that's huge that I don't remember the gal's name. Not your mom, the other gal.
Tanya.
Tanya. Hi, Tanya. You talked about the weight and stuff. And since I couldn't move for 2 years because of my knee, for whatever reason, getting fluid on it, I had put on a lot of weight as well. And silly me bought a scale. I've not had a scale in 30 years. I don't know why I decided to go get that silly number. Liar, the liar of numbers. So I did, and I saw how much I weighed, which was, I'd say maybe 20 plus more than I was. So when I started using ASEA, what I've noticed is I've been on it, I'm almost on 4 months now. What I'm noticing though is my body now, I had a lot of cellulite that was visible, and that is leaving, and I am now turning into muscle. Okay.
Awesome.
And I weigh the same that I did when I didn't have the muscle. So stop the scales. That's my suggestion to everyone, to stop weighing yourself. Okay. You're going to notice your body changing. And as you feel better, you're going to start wanting to move. Like I work out 5 days a week now in my hot yoga room because I want to. I'm not saying everyone's going to turn into that, but that's just what my body wants right now. So this will help you with all of that. Just had to share that.
Yeah. And Kelly, if I can just say one last thing too, I just encourage people, just because it is a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that's going to give you the ability to hit the reset button. So just please, and I mean this is not funny, put your ego on the shelf for a minute and get out of your own way. This is, we all need help. We all need help. We're here on this planet. We pinch and touch ourselves. I'm pretty sure we're here. So we need help, and just know that that's there and help has arrived. So embrace it, love it, enjoy it, and let it be your best friend. And again, if it works out for you and you want it for free, that's great too. Just enjoy it. It's an incredible time to be alive, and that just makes it that much better for everybody. Kelly, thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Love all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.